What is happening, Gothamites? Welcome back to Batman Arkham Asylum full walkthrough episode 3, named to be determined. This is the first time that the game is available on Nintendo Switch. This is early access. The game officially comes out tomorrow, and today is not only Kevin Conroy's birthday, the late Kevin Conroy, but also I found my notes for this game when I was originally writing my review of this, so I thought I would just go over this real quick. Basically, this game released in 2009, which was the 70th anniversary of Batman as a whole. So the Arkham Asylum game that you're seeing in front of you was a celebration game. It was a tribute of all things Batman. Batman comics, Batman the Animated Series, Batman video games prior, Batman movies. It has references and things that don't necessarily mean anything, but some of you wanted to challenge that Batman did not have his back broken in this universe. When in reality, yes, he did. If you go over to the bio for the game, for the Bane section, which I'm going to show you guys right now. If we go to the Bane section of the bio, it mentions Knightfall. Here we go. So this was written by Paul Dini. Determined to prove his worth, he sought out Batman and broke the Dark Knight's spine.
Oh, wow.
But Batman recovered and managed to best Bane, cutting off the precious venom supply that transforms Bane into a superhuman. That right there is your proof.
So you were correct, Luke.
This game originally had Knightfall happen, as well as into Arkham City. Once we get into Arkham Knight and Arkham Origins, it vanishes from continuity. But it was established in this game.
Yeah, so we had several people at the end of last stream that were saying,
boom,
you can't reference something that never happened. There's no way that he could have broken his back in this game. So, yeah, like something really interesting Luke was saying at the beginning of the stream, that this was a celebration 70th anniversary game. And it is referencing a lot of things from the comics, from other Batman games.
Correct.
From the animated series, from different incarnations of Batman. So there's going to be a ton of references in this game, whether or not they carry those through to the other Arkham games.
It was referenced in this game. So the YouTubers that made those videos that went viral with millions of views saying that the continuity that Bane never broke Batman's back is wrong. Because Dini, who penned this game, wrote Knightfall as something that happened to this older Batman. This Batman was not a 10-year active Batman. When Paul Dini wrote this Batman for this game, this was a Batman that was active for 20 years. You can tell by the wear and tear on his face. He is worn, tired, older. He was de-aged in the later games, which does kind of mess with the continuity a little bit. But they did that because the technology improved and, you know, they were trying to hide certain technical things that they couldn't do. So Batman appeared much older, a man in his 40s, as opposed to a guy in his 30s in the next couple games. So he was much older in this version because Rocksteady and Eidos and Paul Dini and people wanted to make a story about a Batman that was older, a veteran, a ruthless, Knight of Darkness type thing. And as the technology progressed, Batman became younger looking, and they started to omit certain things. In fact, if you read the bios for Joker, Harley, and Bane, they're slightly different in Arkham City, as well as when you listen to the tapes for how Penguin and the Joker met, it's completely different than Arkham Knight. So, I mean, there's a constant inconsistency in the Arkham games, and as someone who likes to point this stuff out, I can easily find it, but for everybody else, they just play the games and shut their brain off. But for me, because I'm very observant, I listen, I learn, and I research. So.
Yeah, and I noticed some people were saying, well, this doesn't ruin continuity. I mean, they just changed it, no big deal, change the story. But I guess what we're meaning when we say continuity is, would this make sense in real life? That some part of this character would randomly change the origin or randomly change everything about them. You wouldn't wake up next to your friend one day and they randomly never have ever been your friend before in your life. It's just completely different universe. So yeah, Yeah, so thank you guys for seeing that. I think the people that were kind of like being kind of weird at the end of the stream, like being like,
Oh, they're probably
there
not even
was
here.
no like Batman breaking his back, and there's no references to other. I noticed people said there's no references to anything else. No references to animated series. No references to other games. There's no references to other versions of Batman.
Right there.
There's no references to comics, and the huge thing is that people said at the end of the last stream was Knightfall never happened. His back was never broken. But if you actually look, we won't keep going there over and over again. But basically, Luke already showed at the beginning of this video. It's written right there in Bane's bio that he did break his back.
Yep, that's why they make a reference of it. Now, they don't go any further into that. You know, it's just kind of like, oh, you remember that Knightfall storyline? Well, this Batman is going to make reference to it, but they don't go into it other than that. Like, you don't see any more Bane in this game. Bane shows up again in Arkham City. That's about it.
Well, thank you for the super chat. Brad Cotter says Harley's origin in this world was also retconned. Interesting.
Correct.
Thank you, Brad.
Yep.
Yep, and thank you guys for you guys are awesome. Thank you guys so much for, some of you guys were able to see that also, so didn't make Luke and I look like we're,
oh no, I don't.
I mean, it doesn't matter. Even if nobody can see it, it's written right there. It's
Hecklers
written in black and white, as they say.
Hecklers don't bother me because I'm right. Like, I'm not bothered by it. I know I'm right. They can tell me I'm wrong, but I'm correct.
Yep.
So.
Thank you so much, Brad. And yeah, definitely. Yep, definitely, Brad. Harley and Luke was talking about the way that you were saying the way that Riddler and
oh yeah,
Penguin
how Penguin and Riddler and Joker all meet is different in Arkham City because the bios are completely different. Because when Paul was, like he said, when he wrote these games, he wasn't planning out like an actual connected storyline. The game that he was approached to write was a celebration of 70 years of Batman. That's what it was.
Gotham's veins,
yeah.
And then Arkham City was a continuation of the main story of Arkham Asylum. But not everything that happened in the game.
Yes.
Infected by some foul disease. My mother lived on, but only in a dream. I returned to the family home to care for her, where she remained in her bed for as long as her body continued to breathe. Her tears kept me awake at night.
Knightfall reference. Let's see. Back in exploring. I think I'll exploring section. Now, how do I get back to the area where Bane was hooked up like a marionette? I don't actually know how to get back there.
Oh yeah, Richard was. Oh, that's right.
Somebody was telling me they wanted me to go back. Do you guys remember what? Because the Batmobile came in, rammed into Bane. Bane is gone. The Batmobile's gone.
I may have accidentally. Here we go. So Richard Taylor's comment before was.
There should be a broken wall where Bane knocked me through, but I can't see where it is.
When you could beat Bane, you have to go back inside the medical building, follow the path, it will lead you to the room. And I don't know everything.
Go back inside the medical building? It happened in the medical building is where Bane was?
I don't know, I'm just reading what I see there.
I don't remember the medical building being where Bane was held, though. I thought Bane was...
Maybe it wasn't... I don't know. Maybe I misread the comment.
Because I don't think you can. I don't think you can ride the elevator again.
Oh, thank you for following us on Twitch, Batman .2. Really appreciate that. I've been a fan since you guys played Arkham City. Thank you, Sky Flows. Would you guys ever do a video on everything they retconned? Says Josh Hammond.
No, that's way too much.
I don't know because number one, I don't know if Luke would do that. I don't mean to speak for him, but. He's already gets in trouble with Warner Bros. As it is, so I don't know. I think he just enjoys appreciating the games, but maybe he would do a video on it at some point, but, I mean, I don't know.
When am I going to get the time involved to do that, though? That's the problem.
Yeah. Luke, so Batman was, like, in his 30s or 40s, and then in
There's no shame in cheating. If You admit you cannot solve my challenges.
Alright, so Captain Zach has a question. Number one, is Alfred in this game in the Batcave right now, and also is Batman right now in his 30s and 40s? That was Captain Zach's
In Arkham
question.
Asylum, Batman is supposed to be in his mid-40s. In Arkham City, he's in his mid-30s. So it's like a 10-year difference. Even though the game takes place, you know... what's the word I'm looking for? It takes place 6 months after this. They de-age the characters. They de-age Commissioner Gordon. They de-age Batman.
But it's almost like they have to, because otherwise how could they continue the
Well,
story?
the technology changed. Like, the way that this game is made was a different technology. And then the facial, like, whatever they call it, software, like, improved and stuff like that. So they were able to not have to worry about hiding certain features that they couldn't really show. So part of the reason why Batman looks all wrinkly and old, too, is also it's a technology thing. But Dini was writing very close to, like, a Dark Knight Returns Batman. He was doing, like, a Batman story if the animated series Batman was still around, but, like, in a much grittier universe. And then what happened was the story became less about animated series stuff, and it turned into this, like, very dark, gothic world that was more intense than the animated series. And he just kept going. He got inspired. He kept writing like crazy. And then, you know, we have what we have. We have the 70-year 2009 Celebration game. So yeah, I can't go through the medical building because Bane is,
They said, go back to the lab. So that's what people are saying.
What lab?
I don't know. I don't know how to get to the... Does anyone know where...
I can't ride the elevator to go down to the morgue.
Yeah, I don't know if we're able to
Welcome
get...
to Arkham Asylum. Our staff are here to help you. When Amadeus Arkham
I mean,
built
this is the
fine
medical
institution,
area.
Few would have believed it could be.
Unless they're talking about... Are you talking about Dr. Young's lab? I thought the Bane Easter egg was somewhere else.
Stories of the various so-called super criminals who've been treated here.
I have no way of knowing how to get to where they want me to go.
Chat is a bit delayed from where we are.
Because this is the x-ray room where Dr. Young was.
I have a title for this episode, says Michael.
To the Batcave.
He wants you to call it Ballad of Batman. We'll think about it. Thank you, Michael. We'll see. I don't know if we'll call it that. We might. It has to be something really short and something that has to do with what we're doing in the episode.
I think what we'll do is we'll save the Bane stuff, the Bane Easter egg or whatever for later because I'm gonna get all turned around. So I'm gonna.
Josh,
hopefully it'll let me leave.
Josh was saying there's somewhere in the game where you go into a room and there's a reference to Arkham City.
Yes, there is.
Okay.
It's an Easter egg.
So, I think what your question is, Josh, when we were saying they didn't know this game was going to make money or whatever, well, or they didn't know they were going to make another game, but they probably had an idea for the story of how it would continue.
They had the Arkham City thing as a plan, but I mean, it hadn't been greenlit yet. And Paul Dini was actually... The Arkham games are the last things he worked on before he went to Marvel.
I mean, just think of how Star Wars happened. George Lucas wrote 9 movies in his head. He wrote the entire 9-movie saga, wrote it down. He had the whole story written. And then he decided he would just make one movie. And he didn't even know how that movie would make. He had an idea for all the rest of the stories, if he ever could do them, but he didn't know. It all depends on the success of that first movie. So it's the same with the game. And I was just telling Luke off camera before we started that, like, if you really think about it, Arkham Asylum, the way that they have references to everything Batman related, because of the 70th anniversary, which you were looking up, and how in 2009, they did the same thing with the first Marvel's Spider-Man, which they referenced Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man. They somewhat referenced Tom Holland's Spider-Man. They referenced Spider-Man comics. They referenced other Spider-Man games. They were referencing everything Spider-Man. And that's the same thing that they were doing with Arkham Asylum. They were referencing the animated series. They were referencing the comic books. They were referencing other Batman games. They were referencing probably even aspects of Batman movies with Keaton. There was a line that was similar to a Keaton line in here. So they were referencing everything Batman in this.
I don't know if I can fit to the Batcave, though. I can try.
Someone was asking, are we going back to the the place where people I forgot what it's called. The room where you tell people your feelings. I forgot what it's called.
Oh, you guys want to go there real quick? They might update what just happened. I guess we can find out.
Somebody was asking about that.
There's literally supposed to be... There's supposed to be a hole where Bane... I thought we could just walk through there and get back to where he is, but I guess they sealed the hole because they didn't want to have a big gaping hole in the game. Because,
Yeah.
I mean, you notice how, like, there's no hole here?
You guys rock. Thank you, Batman, too, and thank you for following us on Twitch. Really appreciate that. Hi, Sticky Dog. Hello, OH. Says, isn't when Batman first defeated, or Bane first defeated Batman, that was when he broke his back?
Yes.
Says OH? Okay.
Yep.
Hi, Jacob Langland. Hi, Jarek. Hi, Michael. Hi, Billy. Hello, everyone.
Visiting center.
You're late for your appointment. Very rude. Well, seeing as you're here now, we might as well get started. Tell me about your childhood. Anything stand out? Ooh, is that a tear I see? Too painful? We'll come back to it later then. How about Baney Boy then? Oh, bet you were shocked to see him, weren't you? Personally, I was hoping he'd fold you up like a piece of paper and let me stamp you crazy. But even I don't get everything I want. So what was he doing here? Oh, questions, questions, questions.
Okay. So, like I said, in between each chapter, so the Bane section is technically a chapter, so when you complete the next Arkham inmate thing, if you come back here to the visitor center, there'll be like another little thing that Joker will do with you. Also, guys, I don't know where the Zaz thing is, so if you want to let me know where that is, I always struggle finding the Zaz thing and getting back to the Bane Easter egg. Right now we're heading to the Batcave, is our next destination.
Awesome.
Because that's the name of the stream. Although, I've used the Batcave title before, so I want to come up with a Batman Batcave title that we've never used before. So, guys, try to brainstorm that.
And I believe, Captain Zach, I believe Alfred is in the Batcave in this game.
Alfred is in the Batcave, but I don't believe he speaks in this game. He speaks in Arkham City a lot.
Interesting.
And you don't see him until Arkham Knight, but you don't actually see him in physical form.
Alfred was played by somebody that was pretty famous, I thought, or well known.
In this game?
I thought in Arkham City he was played by somebody that.
He wasn't an animated series alumni.
Oh. Well, he had a good voice anyway.
Of course he had a great voice. I'm going the wrong way.
I like Alfred in this. He's very...
Oh, wait, no, I'm not.
He just looks like a regular, sweet old man. He's just very kind.
Wait, the door is locked. Why?
He's always asking Bruce how things are going. He's very kind. Oh, Alfred's bio is in the game, Alpha?
Yeah, Alfred's bio's in it.
Yeah, I mean, that's a really great thing, like what Luke just did, where people had a disagreement, and then he just looked at the bio to actually confirm. So, I mean, there's really nothing you can disagree about in this game, if only YouTubers would check these bios before they did their videos.
Yep. So the bio that's established in this game is different than the bio for the establishment of Firefly, because Firefly's first introduction to Batman is during Arkham Origins. This game says differently. You know, it's just all this stuff. It just kind of, it's different. Even there's a reference to Hush in this, and Batman hasn't even met Hush yet. Like, Hush actually gets his first appearance in the next game. So, like I said, this game, it's hard to place it at the beginning of the continuity other than the stuff that actually happens. So it's almost like you can view the game as kind of like a multiverse type thing. But the main core story elements, what happens to Joker, the events that happen on Arkham Asylum, that's all canon. But everything else that happens in this game isn't canon anymore after a certain point, because the bios contradict each other constantly. Like, they're all different. Harley's bio is completely different. How she met the Joker is different than in Arkham City and in Arkham Knight and in Arkham Origins. It's always constantly changing, which is super irritating, but that's because, you know...
It's almost like the Joker wrote the continuity for these games.
Kind of, sort of. Also, Alfred, look at how young he looks in this.
Yeah, he does look young.
And Alfred's first appearance in Arkham Origins, he's, like, so old. And here he had black hair.
Alright, see you later, Batman 2. Thank you so much for hanging out and for the kind words. Okay, so you have a lot of people telling you how to get to Zaz. Alright, so let's see here. He's over in the building to the left of the visitor center. Says Alog CBIN.
Zaz is to the left of the visitor center? Or the riddle is to the left of the visitor center.
Alfred is voiced... Alfred is not in this game at all?
No, he's not.
Alog? Oh. And he is voiced by Martin Jarvis in City and Origins. Oh, I really like the voice for Alfred. I think he sounds so good. He sounds so kind, and that's what I like about him. It's just... It really feels like Alfred is Batman's dad, which he basically is.
Where is... this is the cell block. I'm already to the left.
It's on the second floor of the penitentiary, says Sticky Dog. You can't access it until you have the upgrade for the sequencer.
Oh,
upgrade,
okay. All right, that makes sense. That's why I probably forget to keep doing that. Okay. So I have to basically circle around because we can't actually get through the door where the Batcave is. So we have to go back this way. Arkham North.
I mean, I don't know. Somebody is asking, will they make more Arkham games?
Oh, you found that?
That's the riddle. We've been asking them for that for years.
I was running out of time.
I mean, they should have struck while the iron was hot.
What's the deal with Deadman's Point? It's been a favorite suicide location on Arkham Island for over 100 years.
Yeah, I know. I once saved an unfortunate inmate from leaping off into the rocks below. I found a cave entrance and over the years have moved a number of supplies here. It's a regular home away from home.
Oh, interesting.
Did you catch that? There you go.
He once saved an inmate from falling to the rocks, and then he noticed there was a cave entrance, and then he made it his home. So Bruce... Wait, so was he Bruce Wayne at the time he saved somebody?
No.
He was... Oh, he was Batman at that time.
He's Batman.
And then he figured out his cave at that point.
He found a place to put a satellite Batcave. Because Batman has... Yeah, that's what they're called.
Several, yeah.
Satellite Batcaves.
So he has mini Batcaves.
Mini Batcaves, yep.
Oh, interesting.
That is correct. Twin Batarangs allows 2 targets to be taken out simultaneously once thrown. This is remote control Batarang. This is explosions. What do I want? I don't really care about the throw.
According to Kevin Conroy, before he passed away, the games made $1 billion, says Alpha.
It's a $1 billion franchise.
I am surprised they didn't make more games.
Blame
Alpha.
WB Games. Not just WB Games. You have to blame Warner Media was the company before Warner Discovery. It was the company after AT&T and Warner Brothers. Warner Media made a lot of poor decisions where basically they left their audience hanging. Like by 2018, most people who grew up loving and playing the Arkham games moved over to Spider-Man because Marvel has been consistent. So far, they've released 3 games. Arkham released 4 games in total. So if Spider-Man releases 2 more games, they'll have more games than the Batman Arkham franchise did. But what happened with Arkham is, after they had their magnum opus with Arkham Knight, they just basically didn't know what to do with the story after that. So they did have plans, or at least there was a pitch idea for an Arkham Origins 2 about Batman and Robin. Would have been the introduction of Dick Grayson, although Dick Grayson would have been older. Based on the multiplayer that you guys experienced in Arkham Origins. So they were going to do that. Then that fell through, and they're like, okay, we're going to do a Damian Wayne Batman game. It's going to be a Batman Beyond game. In a sense, it's going to take place in the future. And Bruce will be gone, so we'll have Damian as our new Batman. And we're going to have a female Black Mask, and we're going to bring back some older villains that were around when Batman was around, like Two-Face and stuff like that. And the Gotham City that was made, it's very similar to the one that was used in Gotham Knights. But that idea got crushed. They also had an idea for another Batman game that they crushed that was like a Elseworld storyline. Kind of went back to the whole, like, what was the name of that thing? It was based on Batman, not Gotham by Gaslight, because that was the game that was canceled in favor of Arkham Asylum. Because the first new Batman game that we were going to get after Batman Begins was a game called Gotham by Gaslight, which is going to be Victorian-era Sherlock Holmes Batman.
Yeah.
And that turned into, well, kind of paved the way for Arkham Asylum
I remember
in 2009.
your video about that.
So, Warner Media rejected so many different possibilities to continue the Batman franchise, to the point where, for whatever reason, they greenlit Gotham Knights, which they saw as a spiritual successor for Batman, but the development time for that took too long. The game changed so much. They went through so many different writers. Originally, they actually had a famous Batman writer, like what they did with the Arkham games, the early ones, where Paul Dini was involved. They got the guy who was responsible for the New 52 relaunch for Batman. Scott Snyder, I believe, was his name. The guy who did the Court of Owls. And then they added him as a consultant eventually, and they brought in another writer to basically rewrite everything. So Gotham Knights probably could have been a better game if they had, you know, the DC Comics guy attached to it. But for whatever reason, they diminished his role.
I think the writing really does make or break the game, because you can have the best graphics in the world and the best costumes, and then the story is horrible and you don't care about the characters. Nobody's going to want to play the game at all. I mean, I would say the writing and then the music is so important too. Like that one game we were doing, that space game, had also ambient music and hardly anything going on in it, and nobody wanted to play it. It was just like there was nothing happening, and the story wasn't that great either for that.
So, I mean, you know, pretty much with Warner Brothers, the problem is they dropped the ball too much. They had pitched ideas for Superman game, they said no. They had pitched ideas for simple Justice League games, like beat-em-ups, like very simplified, like almost mobile-style games, they said no. They've rejected so many things over the years that it's like, it's hard for me to feel sorry for them, because they had the opportunity to keep their fans from being starved with games, and they fumbled.
I see what you're
blew
saying
it.
now when you say, like, starved for stuff, because the way that they went with Star Wars, where they kept doing the Clone Wars, then they did the Ahsoka show, then they did this, then they did this. They kept pushing different shows. Maybe not, okay, some of the shows weren't that great. The Mandalorian was good, but some of the Clone Wars was good, but some of the, you know, obviously the Star Wars stuff wasn't all good, but maybe it would have been better if they kept pushing the Batman stuff, because for every 2 or 3 bad games, maybe you get one good game, maybe. I don't know.
Oh, I can't break wood like that. Alright, I messed something up.
I like hearing about Batman saving that guy. Like I said in a previous stream, it is important to establish the Batman is compassionate, even though he is very stoic, says Garrett.
Yes.
Yeah, he cares about people a lot. Yeah, definitely, Garrett. Definitely. I agree. Man Behind the Mask says Arkham Asylum, best atmosphere. City, best story. Origins, best boss. Or best boss. Night, best gameplay, in my opinion. It says Man Behind the Mask. That's pretty accurate.
I could agree with that.
Yeah, that's pretty fair, Man Behind the Mask. Hi, Anna says, it is snowing. Hello, everyone. Hi, Anna. Hi, Jessica. Great to see you. Thank you for helping with the likes there, Jessica.
And look at this atmosphere. This is so good. It's got creepy cobwebs, skulls everywhere. When they remade these games on Xbox and PS4, they made it look like a cartoon, in a sense. It was like, it just looked kind of ridiculous. Like, a lot, and I noticed, one of the things immediately I noticed is, where was the fog? Where was the...
Right, and look,
where was the mist? Where was the shadows?
See the fog here, and the rain.
And the rain, yup.
Yeah, Captain Zach has a question. I don't quite understand it. So, okay, I'll wait for this.
We're at the suicide point.
Oh, that's where that guy fell.
Get Batman scene.
So instead of diving and dying, he's dived into a cave. I mean, he has a very advanced technology.
Identity confirmed. Disabling countermeasures. Security deactivated.
This game really keeps you guessing. You really never know what's going to happen next playing it, especially for the first time, but even second or third time, I always forget what happens next. Okay, so Captain Zach's question was something about Hush. Wait a second. What happened in DC Batman Hush film? Like, was it more in the Arkham games when we see all the Hush then, Kwings?
No, they ruined Hush. Like, they made Riddler Hush. Like, they combined two villains into one in the Hush movie, which actually aggravated a lot of fans because they introduced Thomas Elliot in the movie, but then they kill him off in the first, like, 10 minutes. Like, literally kill him. Not, like, fake his death like he did in the comics. They kill him. And then they made the Riddler the guy who was pretending to be the Hush the whole time. And it ruined a really interesting new Batman villain, because Hush had only been around since the early 2000s. So they ruined him. But that's what a lot of the new 52 films did, is they would combine elements of popular Batman stories and they would tweak it so people wouldn't know who the identity of the person is, but they would do it in a way that was just so sloppy. It was so annoying.
Thank you for the question, Captain Zach. I didn't even know anything about that.
Yeah. It's one of my least favorite animated Batman films, next to the Killing Joke animated.
Kiefer says, I feel Arkham Knight was a good send-off because Rocksteady, after they canceled the Superman game, I feel like another game for Arkham made by somebody else would have been inferior. Says Kiefer.
I mean, it would have been just like Arkham Origins. Like, I mean, you have to remember that the company that owns the right to the engine and the Arkham franchise, Rocksteady is the developer that made the game, but Warner Brothers is the license holder of both Batman and that type of game engine. So, in theory, they could have kept making Batman Arkham games using other
Dr.
studios.
Young was heading up a project.
They dropped the ball.
Big. Lots of external funding. Here are the last notes she filed. I can't make sense of it. What does it mean?
Looks like she was experimenting on the Arkham patients. This new chemical only barely resembles the original venom compound.
There are a number of changes that appear to amplify the strength of the drug. Multiple references to a Titan formula. Even a small amount could trigger a venom-like transformation in the host, eliminating the need for the storage tank Bane requires.
Hang on. These notes aren't complete. The formula is missing. That must be the secret Dr. Young is hiding. If Joker gets his hands on this, he will create an army of 1,000 Banes.
My God. Is Joker crazy enough to do that? What am I saying? You've got to stop him.
That's the plan. So, pretty much, how many of you guys, like, with the Assassin's Creed games have been around for almost 20 years, right? Pretty close to it. At least, like, probably 15, 16 years. Not every Assassin's Creed game that releases is an amazing Assassin's Creed game. It's just good enough until the next big one. And not always Ubisoft is the one making it. There are other subsidiaries that are making Assassin's Creed games. So you had a bunch of Assassin's Creed games release, and then there would be like some really big stellar episodes, and then there would be some so-so games made by other people. That's what my hope was for Arkham.
Yeah. That
So,
would have been good.
To me, the WB Games Montreal game is kind of like that side Arkham game, almost like that Miles Morales story that people say is like heavily underrated and all this other stuff, and it has good elements, it has good gameplay, and it, you know, some parts of the game don't really add up with some of the other Arkham things. You know, it's basically like the Miles Morales of that stuff. So my hope was, and that I was banking on, because let's face it, I was one of the biggest creators looking at all the Arkham games outside of AV. I was consistent. I looked at every game. Not every YouTube commentator did every Arkham game that came out. You know, they would usually, it would depend on, you know, what their schedule was like. You have like maybe a few people that were known for like streaming every new release, but you know, they would just go through the story. They didn't 100% it. They didn't, you know, talk about Batman or anything. They just kind of ran through it and, you know, just acted like a regular live streamer or Let's Player.
Yeah.
Right? I brought something different to the table, which is why I got famous for Arkham stuff. So I was banking on Warner Brothers continuing to basically make their own Assassin's Creed continuous franchise. You know, because they had the formula, they had the fan base, and they had all this stuff, and the fact that they squandered all that because of petty arguments, like, in-house, and not being able to decide on where they wanted to go with the franchise and then just ended it abruptly. I mean, that still infuriates me to this day. Because we probably could have had, like, 2 other Arkham or Batman-style games. It might not have had the name Arkham, but it probably would have been the same gameplay mechanics.
Yeah. I remember people talking about that back in the day.
Next time I'm planning an island takeover.
Hey, I didn't mean...
Criticism I can take. I mean, I'm not perfect. Well, come to think of it, I'm pretty close to perfect, aren't I? Where was I? Oh, yes. Criticism from a worm like you. A worm who's only crawling around free because I arranged to open his cell is something I will not tolerate.
I'm sorry, boss. I didn't mean it like that. Please.
Oh, well, see now you're apologetic. I'll just have someone drive round to your house and break your wife's legs, okay?
But Joker...
You got a problem with my generous nature?
No, I guess not. Thanks.
Oh, don't mention it. Let's just consider the matter closed. Did I ever tell you the one about the guy who came home to find his wife a paraplegic?
Killing Joke reference.
Yeah, the Joker reminds me of the animated series Joker.
Well, I mean, it's Mark Hamill.
Because that one...
There's something wrong with this thing. Hey, can you hear me? You need to come up here and get your ears cleaned out. Got a new way. It's a killer.
So Mark had fun with this role because they were basically like, you have no limitations.
Yeah.
Like, this is not the censorship that was the animated series. You can literally go nuts.
Yeah, that was cool. I mean, he really... It's interesting to see how many fantasy characters Mark Hamill has actually done over the years. He's done a lot of very small roles that people don't know about just because of the love of that story or because he loves that series or that game franchise or that science fiction story. It's really interesting. Mark really... He just loves being an actor, I think. Yeah,
Why are we the one?
Oops, I interrupted Thug's speech.
I'm glad he got to do the role, some of the roles he really wanted to do or have fun with it, because he's so stifled by so many companies.
My favorite interview with Mark Hamill is when he was really surprised that he got the Joker role. Like, because Tim Curry had the role first.
Oh, right, yeah, because Tim Curry's so well known and everyone likes...
you know, he was really interested and he loved comic books, which I never knew that about Mark Hamill, like in the 90s. So his interview talking about, like, you know, I came in for this role and they already had Tim was the Joker. Like, he, you know, the clown from It, that's who they were going with. Yeah. And he was a scary Joker. And then, for whatever reason, they had Mark come in and redub the stuff that Tim already did.
Right.
Because Tim had already come in and he did, like, the first, I think it was like 3 or 4 episodes of the animated series.
Yeah, I heard something about that.
Yeah. And he had a very scary Joker that might have been, you know, too intense for television. But,
I've been digging deeper into Dr. Young. According to her bank records, there have been multiple payments starting last April until 2 months ago. Then nothing. The payments came from a company owned by Mr. Jack White.
One of Joker's oldest aliases. So, Joker pays Dr. Young to create his army, and then all of a sudden he stops. Doesn't make any sense.
Alright, so we're in the Batcave, 30,
yeah,
33.
I was excited to see Tim Curry be in the... We actually found out he was the bad guy villain in... He played the bad guy villain in the Bomberman game. Bomberman R.
Yeah, he was in one of the Bomberman things.
Yeah.
So, anyway, like, basically Tim, like, he had the role. Like, Bruce Timm, that was the person he had in mind to cast. Because the guy played It. He played the clown. The creepy clown. Right. So he was a shoo-in. He was like, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Mark Hamill was Luke Skywalker. You know, he came in and he did a bunch of side voices like Ferris Boyle and all these other people, right? So I don't remember why it happened, but for some reason they had him redo Tim's lines. And based on that performance, they gave him the role. And Mark had to go in and not just, like, record the voice and his voice be, like, put over it, like, when actors would record voices back in the day, you would speak, and then like the animation would go over top of you.
Right, but the animation was already done.
The animation was already done. It was already voiced over. Tim already did it. So then Mark went in and he did his lines over Tim's stuff,
so he had
and
to
it was better.
Mouth the characters as they were speaking,
and he did it perfectly.
That's very impressive. Actually, it's extremely impressive. I mean, Mark Hamill's a genius. Oh my gosh.
Find you. Rip your flesh like paper.
He's gonna kill us, Luke. I hope this door holds.
It's fine.
The fact that there's a crack in the door is scary.
I mean, it's very, that's where Croc is. It was great. Oh, I can't kick it.
Savon says, hey, Luke and Amber. Too bad we have never gotten a Batman Beyond game, huh?
We came close. Like I said, they blew it. They had the opportunity to make all these different games, and they rejected just about every pitch possible. So, I mean, we actually would have had a Batman game probably by 2020 or 2018. It probably would have been that Damian Wayne game, but they said no. It's just so upsetting. I hope that they stop saying no, because there's a lot of ideas that would have made great games. They wouldn't have been like as legendary as Arkham, and I think that's Warner Brothers' problem, is they're trying to make something that is going to be as magical as the first 3 Arkham games, and it's not going to be that.
Because you're not going to have... You're not going to have Mark and Kevin and Paul Dini and Bruce Timm and all these geniuses
What you need to do is you need to go and try to make your best game, and if it ends up being an iconic game, that's great. But you need to make use of these characters, because what's going to happen is, what's happening now, is the superhero fans that love the Arkham games have all gone over to Spider-Man. Half of the Arkham community is with Spider-Man now. I kid you not.
Yeah.
It's true. It is true.
You're kidding me, right? That thing's not a man. My God!
Hello. My name is Dr. Gretchen Whistler. Do you understand me?
Yeah, I hear you, bitch. So when's dinner? I'm getting hungry.
Wow, he's not very respectful to that lady.
No, he's not a nice guy.
Josh says they added the rain in the PS4, but I didn't see it in the Nintendo version, says Josh. Yep, that was from a while ago, but yeah, it's in this version.
There's rain in this. There was rain in the PS3 game too.
I love the Arkham series to death, but honestly, I really wanted a new Batman game. I'm getting tired. I wanted like a new Batman game, not Arkham. I'm kind of getting tired of Arkham, but like a new Batman game. Interesting, Sammy Bear King. Yeah, I mean, like, I think it was kind of interesting, Luke, as you were talking about that and how, like, they really needed to keep going with the Batman games, otherwise we lose your audience. Actually, something just occurred to me. I remember when we were on an Arkham stream and you were talking. Now, I don't remember what year Arkham Asylum came out. I don't know what Batman movie was around the same time or anything, actually.
Batman Begins was 2005. 2008 was The Dark Knight. This game came out in 2009. 2012 was Dark Knight Rises.
All right, so I remember this conversation we were having at the time where basically we were not getting the Batman movies we wanted anymore. They were done. I was upset because they didn't continue it with Two-Face with Aaron Eckhart, and they didn't continue that universe. They didn't continue a lot of things they were going to do originally. So I remember having a conversation with you on one of the Batman Arkham streams about how, we didn't really need the movies because we have the games. The games were so good. We could just keep going with these Batman games as our stories to keep us, like satiated or whatever. Like, we could be happy with all these great games coming out. If the Arkham games continued, we could just, who cares if the movies are,
The payments to Dr. Young's account didn't stop exactly. They were declined. Dr. Young put a block on her account.
Sounds like she had a change of heart. She tried to block the payments. Joker doesn't like it when his partners try to back out.
So he decided to get himself back to Arkham, find his formula, and create the army himself.
Exactly.
So prior to Heath Ledger's death, we actually were going to get another Batman game before Arkham Asylum. We were getting a Dark Knight video game, just like they made a Batman Begins video game. The problem was Heath Ledger died. Gary Oldman, the voice and the Commissioner Gordon, had already voiced his role, as did either Bale or an impersonator. And the game was going to follow that of the movie. So there was a movie license game that was in development. When Heath died, that game was completely scrapped, because originally what I thought was, because Arkham Asylum was in development, they weren't going to allow like another, you know, Batman game to come out.
Right.
But that's not true.
So they were going to have a different Batman game come out.
We're going to have a different Batman game out before this game.
She's begging to stop the experiment, says it's too dangerous. She's not listening. Let's see. Random threats to her family, a couple of bad jokes, a picture of a dead baby, and a threat.
Go on.
He says, I'm coming for you. I want what I paid for. And then another joke about wheelchairs. Lovely. And a drawing of some kind of donkey.
No mystery why she's so scared. I'm coming up to the surface.
Joke about wheelchairs.
Who's talking, Barbara?
That was Barbara. That's Oracle.
Okay. Yeah, so I mean, like, even today, like, with all the difficulty in the WB not doing well with the movies, where the Zack Snyder problem, fiasco, and everything, if we had had a continuous Batman series going on, you know, like the Assassin's Creed games, you know, in fact, people used to even say, like, what would you call the Batman series if it was after Batman Arkham? What would you do? What would you call the series if it was like a Assassin's Creed type Batman series? And I think we had come up with interesting names for it.
Just be different Batman names.
Such as
just
Batman,
wouldn't be Arkham.
Batman Knights or yeah, Batman, you know, something. We probably wouldn't have the word Arkham in the names, exactly.
Yeah, Assassin's Creed is the title of the game, so I mean, if the Batman Arkham franchise was done, what Warner Brothers didn't understand is they didn't actually have to continue the Arkham universe to make games from.
Right.
They could have just made Batman games in the similar style.
Yeah.
And just created their own universe and gotten another company, but the problem is they weren't smart enough to do that.
Yeah, I mean, like, because the Assassin's Creed games are so loosely linked together, and some of them are, like, not even, you couldn't even tell, you'd have to, like, tell the person, like, oh, yeah, these are on the same franchise.
They're kind of all connected, but, I mean, it
Not
gets kind
really.
of convoluted, and the story goes all over the
But
place.
at least they're making games continuously.
They're continuously making games, and the gameplay changes for every game, like for Assassin's Creed. It's like they have the name, and they have some of the core aspects of the game, but the game is different. You know?
Dark Knight's Creed.
Assassin's Creed Origins, the gameplay was very different than Assassin's Creed 2 or Assassin's Creed Brotherhood or whatever. It still maintained the name. It still had the stealth gameplay, and it still had, like, the, you know, the fun ways of being an assassin and the skill trees and stuff. But there were other aspects of all the Assassin's Creed games, including the Greek one and the Viking one. They maintained the name, and they kept the franchise going. But they weren't the same as, like, some of the more popular Assassin's Creed games.
Like the Black Flag one with the ships and everything was really different.
So you could have done a lot of stuff with the Batman games. The problem is, Warner Brothers doesn't have a backbone the way that Marvel does. Like, you know, and they always do this, though. They end a series when it's on a high, and then they don't know what to do to replace it. Like, I guess their plan was to end Batman and then bring about Superman. But they never even did that. Like, every pitched idea for Superman, they shot down.
Yeah.
Every Justice League game that they, was pitched, they shot down. The only ones they approved was the Injustice fighting games.
Yeah. If they had a
and they still haven't greenlit the third one yet.
If they had a Batman game every 3 or 4 years, whether it was perfect or not, I'm sure a lot of Batman fans would buy it. Just to be glad that they actually made a Batman game.
Of course, if it had similar, you created a gameplay style that wasn't before, right? It didn't. This type of Batman gameplay did not exist prior. There were elements of it in other Batman games: Batman Vengeance, Batman Rise of Sinzu, Batman Dark Tomorrow, Batman Begins. Like you can see undertones for certain gameplay mechanics in those games that were utilized in this, like, tremendously better, but it still had, like, if you look under the hood of the Arkham game, the first one, you can see a lot of little things under the surface from those Batman games. I mean, you can't argue it. It's there. They added some new stuff, but the core aspect of the gameplay is pretty much Batman Vengeance and Batman Begins.
Yeah.
With, like, some more mature gameplay elements.
Yeah, you can tell when you played the Batman Begins game that
which is fine.
They got a lot of ideas from it. Yeah, I mean, like, I thought what you said about Miles Morales was interesting because that game was a different style. They changed up the style of music. They changed up a lot of... They made it more about his neighborhood than just, like, going through the entire thing. So it was completely different than the Peter Parker style a Spider-Man game. So, yeah, like, I think that's what we thought when we were getting was Gotham Knights was going to be like this, but, like, with everybody.
I was hoping that Gotham Knights was going to be like a spiritual successor to Arkham Origins.
But it wasn't
or like
at all.
In gameplay, I mean. Like, I was like, finally, because I always said that Arkham Origins had great gameplay. It was fun. It kept the Rocksteady formula alive and well, but it changed it. It made it its own. And I was a firm believer that Arkham Origins, like whatever sequel they did or whatever Batman game they made, they could nail it. And then they fumbled it with Gotham Knights. They went in the complete opposite direction. They didn't fine-tune the stuff that they fixed in Arkham Origins. They completely abandoned it for basically the Avengers Live Service game, and it blew up in their face.
Yeah.
And because of that, now we have no idea when we're going to get... If I'm a betting man, I'm going to say we're going to get a Superman game first before we get a new Batman game. I don't think we're going to get a new Batman game until around 2026. Like, I'm really... Unless something changes and, like, you know, Zaslav is like, hey, we made a lot of money on Nintendo in 2023, you know, Christmas time. Let's get to work on a Batman game like this. Kevin's gone, R.I.P., but we have other famous Batman actors that are wanting some money. That could be the voice.
You've had 2 or 3. I mean, that's what's good is that you've already had people play Batman.
Patient name Waylon Jones, a.k.a. Killer Croc.
So, is this the part where you try and reason with me? Find out why I did it, Doc.
We're here to help you, Mr. Jones.
You got a cure for me then, Doc? Can you make me normal?
Normal is a poor choice of words. No one's really normal, are they?
Figured as much. So, how about this, Doc? You let me go now, and I won't eat you.
You don't really eat people. It's just an urban myth.
Oh, you think? Keep believing that, Doc.
Disturbing.
Yeah, so, I mean... Everybody, like, especially my crazy detractors, like those unhinged X-fans, they always say that I hate Arkham Origins. I never hated it. I had issues with the continuity, and I always said that if given a budget and given time and giving the blessing of Rocksteady, that the team could make their own Batman game that is not connected to the Arkham games.
Yeah, like, it feels like they wanted to make their own thing.
Right. They wanted to make their own thing, but they, you know, if they just would have fine-tuned their gameplay mechanics from Arkham Origins with the Bat family, they would have made a hit game. Like, I don't think a lot of people, even if the story was a little wonky like it was, if the gameplay was good, then you would have another Arkham Origins argument on your hands, like, you know, people defending the game to the death, like they do with Arkham Origins.
I think what was frustrating with Gotham Knights is, like, that it was made by the same studio that made Arkham Origins, and the Arkham Origins gameplay was really good, and the Gotham Knights gameplay was terrible. So it was like, how did they forget how to make Batman gameplay?
They didn't forget. They wanted to change everything.
But why would you change it to make it worse?
You know, some nights I am sitting up and I'm just like, I don't understand how everything fell apart.
The fact that they had the potential to make it good, but chose not to.
Again. Don't worry about the bat. I put a few surprises along the way. Decided to turn up and spoil the fun. Oh, and if you hear a shot in the dark, don't worry. There's very little chance of you getting hurt. It's the bat hunt. Still, you might want to check your health insurance. Who am I kidding? You don't have any.
Snipers. Looks like the Blackgate thugs have access to the armory.
But I mean, I think that we are due for a Superman game. If a Superman game happens before a Batman game, I will happily play it and make live streams and coverage and whatever. But the thing that I want from a Superman game is, one, do not depower Superman. Stop doing that. Make him Superman. And number two, if you give us an environment to explore, do not give Metropolis a health bar and, put this urgency for Superman that he has to, keep the city from being damaged too much or he loses. That's stupid. I never liked that. That was in the Superman Returns game. The Superman Returns game had a lot of potential, but then they messed it up.
I forgot to say Dozenar was in here earlier. Hello, Dozenar, if you're still here, I'm so sorry. I forgot to say hi to you. And thank you for your message and for what... And,
yeah, we don't know if you want us to talk about that, but...
We'll talk to you later and see if you want us to say anything. But anyways, great to see you.
I did message him.
I know. I just forgot to say hi to him because he said hi, and I'm the only one seeing the chat. So
okay.
I forgot to tell you that he said hi. That was like an hour ago, so I completely forgot. Is this all the Arkham games on the Nintendo Switch, says Ian?
Everything but Arkham Origins.
It's the trilogy.
It's a Rocksteady trilogy.
So the 3 Rocksteady games besides Origins. And no Blackgate, obviously. My favorite thing about Origins is this pre-supervillain world. I like how they touched upon organized crime and corruption in the Gotham GCPD, says Alpha. Interesting. Okay, Captain Zach has a question. So, what happened then, Luke? Was Hush different than Arkham City, or Arkham Knight or City? I need more thoughts about this. I
don't know what it is about this.
I cannot understand with the Hush film, says Captain Zach.
The Hush film isn't Hush. It's not Hush at all. Hush is Thomas Elliot, and the whole reason for being Hush was to get back to back at Bruce Wayne. Like, he wanted to steal Bruce Wayne's identity. He hated Bruce Wayne. Everything about Hush was stripped away and replaced with the Riddler with a bald head, obsessed with I don't even think he thought Bruce Wayne was Batman. I don't even remember. It was a stupid movie that they took the great Hush storyline and they twisted it to the point where it was, 1, unrecognizable, and 2, the story was just a huge mess that it wasn't even a fun mystery. Like, they were trying to make it like, aha, can you guess what villain is Hush now that Thomas Elliot is dead? And they just, they just blew it. It was just stupid. It was irritating. I don't think I ever made a review of it. I don't remember. I was pretty angry.
Yeah.
There's a lot of Batman projects that make me pretty angry over the years that I don't cover because I don't want to have a heart attack.
That's why I wish that they would focus on making good games, and then we'll just assume that movies are going to be terrible because they can't figure out their movie studios. But if they could just get the games right, everyone would be happy.
Mm-hmm.
It would take out the sting from them doing a terrible job of canceling good movies. Okay, thank you for the super chat, Rooster Jackson. Asylum and City need current gen remakes?
It'd be hard. Who would you get to voice Batman? Because you have to remember that Kevin's audio that you're hearing here is from 2009. Like, I mean, it sounds pretty good on the Switch now. But...
Also, they might change some stuff in it and make it worse. They might add or subtract dialogue. Like, everything about these games is perfect as it is. So, if you make a remake, you kind of... I mean, look what...
You did have a remake. It was called... Return to Arkham, like Asylum and City were the remakes.
We technically had that,
and those were terrible remakes.
Yep, thank you, Rooster Jackson, for the super chat. Appreciate that. I am doing good. I'm chilling and eating dinner and watching the stream. Awesome, Jeffrey.
I can't.
I will always support the Kwings. Thank you, Batman 2. Really appreciate that. So it was a stupid DC film, says Captain Zach, the Hush thing.
That's pretty much all you need to know, yep.
Yep.
It was a stupid DC film.
The Hush movie was definitely weird, says Jordy.
Yeah.
What?
It took one of my favorite villains and it made them unrecognizable and stupid and predictable. It was heartbreaking.
Garrett says they essentially took the twist that Riddler was working with Hush in the comics and then turned it into Riddler being Hush.
Yeah.
It was kind of a stupid plot point. It didn't really make sense.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, hi, Dozen R says, hi, Luke and Amber, no worries. I'm here in the chat in my car on my way to holiday rehearsal for Nutcracker performance.
Very cool.
Wow, which will be 2 weeks from tomorrow. Wow, that's very exciting, Dozen R. Okay, and somebody was saying something in the chat about this game in 2009 when they played it. But I have just had so many comments that I had to keep pausing to read.
You have to remember that the rain in this game is not constant. Like, it goes on and off.
Rogue Force says, I will never forget being 7 years old in 2009.
Oh, wow.
And playing the Arkham Asylum demo on Steam over and over and over again because I needed to wait until Christmas to actually get the game.
Steam was around in 2009? I didn't know that.
Interesting, Rogue.
Steam's been around a long time then, because I didn't even know that was possible.
Wow,
It's pretty cool.
Really amazing you played this when you were 7. That's interesting.
I mean, it is a T-rated game.
You're number 1, Savon. Thank you so much. Yeah.
See, notice how it's hard for them to get weapons usually too. So the guy's actually attacking us, I think, with a broken bottle.
Have you gotten to see the Batman suit yet? Says
no, we
Rogue
won't.
4.
We won't get to till tomorrow because I'm just letting you know that it will take you 4 to 5 hours to download Arkham Knight. It'll take you an hour to download Arkham Asylum, and it'll take you an hour and 45 minutes to download Arkham City. And Arkham Knight is literally going to take, like, once I'm done streaming at 2 in the morning, I'm going to have Arkham Knight install, and it is probably going to take, like, I usually sleep for about 5 to 6 hours a night. I'm going to go to bed, and when I get up, it will be done. Like, so if I start it downloading at, like, 2 in the morning, it will probably be ready by, like, 6 in the morning for me to do, like, a showcase on my other channel. Maybe.
Oleg Bin says, what makes House of fascinating characters, unlike Joker, Riddler, or Hugo Strange, who are obsessed with Batman? He is actually obsessed with Bruce Wayne.
Correct.
Interesting. Now, you guys are teaching me some stuff I didn't know. You guys are awesome. I'll support you guys. Thank you, Jacko Dog. Really appreciate that. A lot of people are saying they have not watched the Hush movie.
You didn't miss much.
They could do a Metroid Prime thing and do a complete graphical overhaul from a competent team, says Jotaro.
They could, Jotaro. It's like, but has Warner Brothers shown us other than... That's why I'm saying, if I'm being completely honest, the next team that should handle the next new Batman game with their own spin, their own gameplay, is the people who made Hogwarts Legacy.
Yeah.
Avalanche is the Warner Brothers team that could make a new modern game that I think, if they're given time, and they actually hire a comic book writer, like a competent one, not one from now. Like, get Grant Morrison, get Scott Snyder, get Chuck Dixon. Because you're not going to get Dini anymore. Dini's not going to do that because most of his alumni cast is gone. So that's going to be hard for him.
I've got a couple of men in the guard towers covering your movements. But be careful. They're both loose cannons, itchy trigger fingers, and, well, you know, accidents do happen.
I love how he tells Batman to be careful. He doesn't want him to get shot. But he puts snipers out here. It's these little things that you catch when you go and you play this. Like,
it's almost like he knows he can get past this.
Yeah, it's like he's challenging Batman, but at the same time, you know, he wants Batman to die, but he's just giving him heads up because they're rivals.
Hello again, boys.
Yeah, he's trolling him.
He's trolling him, yeah.
No good to us dead. However, a bruise here or a cut there won't go amiss.
That's funny. Okay, 103 snipers. And I don't think that Avalanche would be a good team to do the Superman game. I don't know what team would benefit from Superman because I don't really remember that many Warner Brothers teams that still are around. Like, a lot of them are gone. Traveler's Tales is not the same company anymore. Rocksteady, after the release of Suicide Squad, will not be the same team anymore. Like, they had a lot of people that have either put in their notice or they're, you know, they're gonna leave. So Rocksteady is basically going through the same metamorphosis that Rare did when they left Nintendo. They became Retro Studios, the people that stayed, And the people that left, they kept the name and were rare, but were they really rare anymore? I would argue that Retro Studios was the real rare. So whatever team Sefton Hill and some of the other people that are leaving Rocksteady, there's a good number of veterans that are leaving. Whatever company they create, that technically will be the new Rocksteady, wherever they go. It won't be Warner Brothers, though. I don't believe.
Oh wow, I'm sorry you had to go through that, Luke Batman. Or Luke Bryan, I'm sorry. Says he had to run away from some crazy person that was following him when he got off a train.
Oh gosh.
He had to go on several of the trains and get away from them. I'm glad you're safe, Luke Bryan. Please stay safe. Sorry that happened to you. That's pretty concerning.
Now that I'm in charge, I'd like to hear all your feedback on the place. I'm especially proud of the decor, and I hope it helps you all become more productive in our task of taking over.
Brewhead says, little details like in City where you're fighting Clayface and the real Joker actually gets nervous because he doesn't want Bruce to die. Interesting.
Yep.
Yeah, and like they handled Barbara Gordon so well in this game. Like, I didn't like what they did. Barbara Gordon was so much cooler in the Arkham games, in the Rocksteady trilogy, than in Gotham Knights.
She was even better in Arkham Origins. Like, the Barbara Gordon in Arkham Origins is a better Barbara Gordon than the one that we got in Gotham Knights, who's kind of this pretentious, like, annoying, like, I'm better than the boys character. I don't like when they do that. I really hate, like, this whole modern thing where they have to belittle men in order to build up female characters. It's like they don't know how to write female characters without belittling and making fun of guys. It's becoming such a tired, boring archetype that has been like constant now since 2018, and it's just to the point of not just redundancy, but it's just like it just really tears down your game because it looks like mean-spirited like all the time.
Yeah, especially when like your game like sorry, I didn't mean to talk over the dialogue, but especially like Batman, somebody who's, you know, has immense self-control and humility even for being a billionaire, and he's always has compassion trying to help people. He really tries to be a decent human being. It's so odd to have like a girl in that universe be such like entitled, you know. Anyway, I'll be done talking.
You're fine. I mean, Joker's gonna pop up all the time.
Thank you for the super chat, Rooster. Says Rooster Jackson says, will you play Spidey 2, the new game plus when it comes out?
When it comes out, we don't know when it's happening.
We played through Spider-Man 2 twice. We played it on normal and then hard mode. Already, so we just have to wait
for New Game Plus whenever that happens. I mean, I'm guessing it'll probably come out in January, or maybe it'll be this month. I don't know.
Well, I mean,
we might end up playing Hogwarts for Nintendo Switch. We don't know.
I mean, that's like
no good to us dead. However, a bruise here or a cut there won't go amiss.
He's approving torture of people.
Wow.
I don't think I've actually heard all like Joker's different dialogue. If you try to open the doors, the thugs won't let you now, I don't think.
That's what made the first Wonder Woman movie such a great movie, says Garrett. The men in that movie were not put down to prop up, says Garrett.
Watch this.
Wow, look who it is.
This is an Easter egg too.
Big bad Batman. Come on, tough guy. Come and get him.
Oh, look at him. Stuck out there. Ain't you got a cat to rescue from a tree or something?
That's right. Go on. Get lost. We're in control. Joker will finish you off.
Oh, they were supposed to comment something. Oh well. So basically, they think that we can't get to them, so we actually have to get to them through the bell tower that's up here.
Oh yeah, that's right. You have to figure out a way. I remember playing this and I thought, I have to get there somehow. I don't know how. But then people did help me once in a while, but sometimes I didn't look at the chat right away because I was trying to figure it out, see if I could figure it out. Because sometimes they give you clues. Sometimes in this game, the Joker... Like, someone was telling me, well, I could never play Arkham. It'd be too hard. And I was telling them, like, well, you could. Because actually, in this Arkham games, if you're wandering around for a while, the Joker will start to say clues to you. Also, other people on the intercom or the news will start to say clues. Like, some people have been afraid that people have come into the vents. Like, they'll actually start saying clues, like, randomly in the game, like, right to you, where, you know, or Barbara will, or Commissioner Gordon, or the Joker, and they'll start saying things, and you realize, oh my gosh, that's a hint for me! And then you have to look for a vent or something.
Where the heck is Wayne Tower?
They're just taunting Batman, says John Doe.
I thought you could see Wayne Tower from there.
Well, I really also like just a lot of the things. Like, there's not a lot of, like, you know, there's just not a lot of, you know, there's all kinds of different, you know, like in the Arkham series and stuff, there's just all kinds of people from all different ethnicities in this game that are really done, you know, like, they have really important character development. All the characters are respected in this game, and nothing is, like, pushed in your face or anything. People are just valued as human beings, not as whether they're a girl or a guy, or what they look like on the outside, or anything like that. So I like that. But then in modern times, they always have to, like, emphasize what you look like on the outside so much. It makes it frustrating. When people are human beings, like, everyone has value.
Bingo. I think they'll let me do it here. Subject obscured because of the bars? Really? Wow, okay.
How come you can't do that?
I have to be up higher in order to do it. That's annoying. That's annoying. Unless I can get it from the graveyard.
I watch your Miles Morales Let's Play every Christmas, says Rooster Jackson.
Awesome, thank you.
Thank you.
We appreciate that. Thank you for the super chat. That helps out tremendously.
Thank you so much, Rooster Jackson. That helps out. He's done a couple super chats today, actually. Thank you so much, Rooster. Appreciate that so much. Maybe we'll have to play through that again at some point. Sometimes we play through Arkham Origins around Christmas.
We're gonna see what happens this year. Like, the Christmas game we're planning on is we have a partnership with Outright Games, so we're probably gonna do the Grinch Who Stole Christmas, which was a Nintendo Switch game that came out a while ago, September, I believe.
Oh, I'm starting to wonder if I should play Miles Morales since it's gonna be around Christmas. Because once I just finished the first game.
Yeah, there aren't that many Christmas games. The only true Christmas game that's action is Arkham Origins. The entire game takes place at Christmas time. It's Christmas Eve into Christmas morning. It is the only video game that takes place on Christmas Eve. And, as far as I know, it's one of the only games that takes place on New Year's Eve. The DLC, Cold Cold Heart DLC starring Mr. Freeze, takes place on New Year's Eve and New Year's Day. Which is, I mean, if people always ask me, it's like, I need a game to play in December that's Christmas themed and that takes place at Christmas time. It's like Arkham Origins. And then they're like, I need a game to play that takes place at New Year's because I want to celebrate New Year's Eve playing a video game that is about New Year's Eve. Arkham Origins. Arkham Origins Cold Cold Heart DLC.
And now I know also that if you want a movie to watch at Thanksgiving, it's
Spider-Man.
Sam Raimi's Spider-Man, the first one. Because they sit down at Thanksgiving dinner with Spider-Man and with the Green Goblin.
Yep. Alright, so we're going into the
He's like, I'm sorry, I have to leave. I suddenly realized I forgot something. I had to beat an old lady with a stick to get these cranberries.
Yep.
I wonder if he really
No, he didn't beat an old lady with the stick to get the cranberries. It was it's a joke.
Imagine looking at an old lady all beat up outside his house on the ground like, those were my cranberries.
See ya, Grandma Chump. Equality.
Yeah.
You got in my way and I needed those cranberries. So I had to beat you down with a stick.
Yeah. You're breathtaking, Richard. Thank you so much.
Yeah, me too. I'd rip his head off and give it to Joker for a paperweight.
Always sucking up to the boss.
What's that supposed to mean?
You heard me.
What is the name of this area we jumped into? This is called Arkham Mansion? Entrance Hall.
Thank you, Yang XB says, I hope you guys always stay together and make videos forever. That's very sweet.
People forget this, but Amber and I have been married almost 17 years now. Like, Amber and I started as a married couple on YouTube. Like, it wasn't... Some people think I got married when we were on YouTube. It was the opposite. Amber and I got married in 2006.
We got married before we did a YouTube video.
We had a YouTube channel, but we were just using it for, like, goofy stuff about our honeymoon and, like... When I mean goofy stuff about our honeymoon, we were going on trips. We went to Six Flags, and originally we had the Batman New England show and all kinds of stuff, like, on our YouTube channel that YouTube erased. In fact, in order for us to become YouTube partners, when we were working with Total Biscuit, we had to erase
all our honeymoon stuff.
We had to erase a bunch of videos that were copyright claimed, because they refused to partner us until that stuff was gone. So I had to erase, like, I think it was like 20 videos.
We had a video of like a New England Six Flags like Batman live action like show that we went to on our honeymoon, and the guy, like, he basically went through like on the zip line right by us, like within a foot of us. And when a Batman student zipped all the way down through the crowd, and then they were like doing a fight scene where they were like punching each other, Batman and Robin. And then Luke and I went to the Hall of Justice on our honeymoon, and we went in Six Flags and then in Massachusetts, and we went there, and they gave each of us like a superhero name, and we got a little keychain with our superhero poses once we first got married. And then they put, I think I have the keychain somewhere, a picture of us when we first got married, and we were posing with Robin and Batman.
And Green Lantern.
Oh, and Green Lantern. Sorry, I always forget him for some reason.
You became a member of the Bat family. And they wouldn't make me a member of the Bat family.
I don't remember what name they gave you.
They didn't give me a name. I became a member of the Green Lantern Corps, and they gave me a ring.
Yeah, and then they actually dubbed me a name.
Your Lady Vengeance.
Yeah.
Batman was flirting with you. I was getting really agitated.
Yeah,
because it was my honeymoon.
Luke was getting really agitated.
Batman was hitting on you, and I was like... And Batman, like, had a higher pitched voice than me. I was just like, what are you doing, guy? It's like, this is my freaking honeymoon, and this dude is, like, hitting on my wife.
I think it didn't occur to them that we had just gotten married. I think they just thought we were just going there.
I mean, we acted like we had matching outfits, for one. We had matching shirts.
Yeah.
We did the whole, like, dress like a couple thing and everything.
Oh, you went to that Batman show at Six Flags? Richard? I went to the Batman show at Six Flags in 2006, Kwings. Wow. Mind blown. Richard, oh my gosh, what if we were at the same show? We were there in 2006 also.
We were there June 7th. Or wait.
We were there the same year you were, Richard.
Wait, was it?
We could have seen each other at the same show.
Amber, don't get mad at me. Is it June 6th or June 3rd?
June 3rd.
Okay, so June 4th we were there.
I watched those videos before you had them taken down.
Yeah, we had to take them down. They wouldn't partner us if we didn't take those videos down. We also we had a we had a virtual tour of Six Flags back in 2006. But there was, like, music that was playing, and we had to get rid of that, too.
Oh, wow, Richard says, I was 15 when you guys got married, and now I'm now I'm in my 30s. Now I'm 32.
Wow.
Unbelievable,
Visiting
Richard.
academics in both Metropolis and
Amadeus
Keystone.
Arkham stuff.
Wow, so
I was exposed to a wealth of new
not that much older than Richard, actually.
I began my day returning home in good spirits, eager to see my wife and family. I ended it kneeling in their blood, broken fragments of my life, pouring through dripping red fingers.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for the kind words, Rooster Jackson says, happy to help. I have enjoyed your channel since 2011.
So Arkham City. Nice.
And apparently Garrett has looked at those old videos before they were taken down, so Garrett's been here for a tremendous amount of time, too.
Out of spite, once we became YouTube partners, we did upload them again. But
okay.
Yeah, we don't have all the videos. Like we lost the what do you call it? We lost the no, not the originals. We literally had a tour of Six Flags. Like we walked all over the park.
Yeah.
They took all those down. Right, so is this a Predator room? No, this is a combat challenge.
I want it foul. I've got a plan or six to loosen her tongue, but in the meantime, search every cook and granny. There's a prize for whoever finds them.
I need to find those notes before Joker does.
Come on, keep looking.
New objective. Search the mansion. Find Dr. Young's research.
Whoa.
Last prize he gave out cost my buddy his legs. Joker was laughing for hours. You found
Wow,
it?
that's so interesting, Richard. Maybe we actually were in the same area as you. Richard says, I was there around the same time as you. Around that same time you just said.
That's pretty cool.
Wow, what if we actually were at the same show and we just didn't... Maybe we did see... Maybe we've met Richard.
Well, I mean, here's
15 years ago, maybe we met him.
We didn't really talk to very many people. We did...
We were just sitting there on our own. Like, we probably would have been forgettable because we were just sitting there.
The Batman stunt guy was really nice. The dude who was playing Batman inside the Hall of Justice was creepy.
Yeah.
Because on our honeymoon or whatever, the Batman and Robin actually came out and they posed with the Batmobile and we took a picture of them. Like, they gave us a special picture.
Yeah, they had cool outfits.
Well, I mean, it was the Robin costume from Batman Forever, and it was the Batman costume from, I think, Batman Forever or Batman or Keaton. I don't remember. But, like, the Batman that was walking around in the Hall of Justice, which had just recently opened up, he was wearing, like, the Batman Year One, or kind of like the Jim Lee Batman costume. With the gray and the black and the big Batman emblem.
Yeah.
He didn't have... Whereas the stunt guy had the yellow emblem.
Yeah, and they don't have that stunt show anymore.
No, that closed,
right?
that closed down.
That's such a shame. It was so cool.
Another one of the
Mm-hmm.
easy ones.
And honestly, Luke,
Feel too proud, Batman.
Yo.
I have been to, I remember, and I told you this back then, and I'll tell Richard as well, because I don't know if Richard has been, Richard, I don't know if you've been to Disney World. I'm sure a lot of people have. Luke has never been there. But the coolest,
I've never been there.
The coolest stunt show I ever saw was the Disney,
Indiana Jones
Jones stunt show at, whatever studios it was, MGM Studios in Disney World. And that was the coolest thing. I always wanted to invite Luke there. We didn't have enough money to go there. So we went to Six Flags, which was way cheaper than Disney World. And so and it was kind of like I felt sad because I didn't have any money to go somewhere really nice. And then Luke was like, oh, that's okay. They have like a cool stunt show. So let's do this. And I remember telling Luke, oh my gosh, this is better than the Indiana Jones stunt show. And I really liked it because it was cooler than the Indiana Jones stunt show in Disney World. Because
you did like Batman a little bit.
Oh, I loved Batman. Batman the Animated Series was my favorite show growing up.
I know.
I just got too Batmaned out with how much Batman that we covered. That was my problem.
Well, yeah, I mean
I
we
didn't
did
only watch Batman the Animated Series.
I
also
was
watched
joking
other
before,
things.
like when you were, I think you were getting ready for the stream. I said like, I'm surprised that we haven't won a Guinness World Record because we've covered Arkham more than anybody on the internet. Like we've literally we play through these games almost like every 2 or 3 years.
Indiana Jones stunt show is amazing, says Garrett. Awesome, Garrett.
Never got to see it.
Never been to Disney World, but it'll be on my bucket list. Awesome, Richard. Maybe Richard and Luke and I will end up there at the same time.
If I don't go like anytime soon, I would like to go for my 50th.
I always wish I wish we could tell people when we were going to Disney World, and then all of our viewers could meet us the same week.
The problem with that is we have detractors that are also with viewers. So
I know, but it would be so fun if people would we're gonna go anyway, and we could meet them there, especially if there were people that lived in Florida already or were already gonna go. I always thought it would be cool, or go as a group, like a Kwings group, but then people would have to give their real name and everything. But yeah, I always wished I could meet our viewers in a cool setting, a fun setting, not like a stupid convention with sweat all over and a dumb table. It'd be cool if you could meet them somewhere fun and exciting instead.
I don't know if I've ever said this before, but did you notice that basically in terms of Burton stuff, the first Arkham Asylum game is kind of like Batman because it has Joker and stuff. Did you notice that the main villains that are really prominent in Arkham City are the ones that were teased in Arkham Asylum? Like Ra's al Ghul, Penguin, and Catwoman. And they have stuff displayed here you know, about their stuff. And just like the Batman Returns thing, both Catwoman and Penguin are very prominent in the Batman Returns movie, just like they're very prominent in the Arkham City game.
Yeah.
So I always kind of saw that as like maybe that was like Dini's like subtle way of like bringing a nod to Batman Returns, like in Arkham City.
Interesting.
Also, it takes place in wintertime. So there's another little, because there's snow in Arkham City.
So they hired a creepy person to play Batman, says Alpha.
Yeah, and he had a high-pitched voice, and he was hitting on my wife. It was annoying.
I cannot believe I actually saw some of those videos before they were taken down, says Charles, and Garrett was saying he watched our Brave and the Bold and then found our other channel. Dang, Batman was rude, says Sammy.
Mm-hmm.
High-pitched Batman LOL, says Richard Taylor. That's messed up.
Green Lantern had Green Lantern had a deeper voice, and he was taller than the Batman actor.
Sticky Dog says, wow, they wouldn't let you into the Bat family. Wow. Poor Luke stuck with Green Lantern, says Sons of Gaming.
I didn't hate Green Lantern. It was like Hal Jordan, you know, issued me in. He and Wally West were there. Batman and Robin weren't there at the time. Or Robin was. Robin was taking pictures with a bunch of, like, young girls that looked like they were, like, Britney Spears clones, like, off a field trip. So Robin was busy. Batman was on his break. And only Green Lantern and Hawkgirl and Flash were really around. So, because when we went the day before, because we kind of got a lot of merchandise. Like, they had a lot of cool stuff.
Yeah, and we still have it.
We still have some merch.
Our Justice League mugs from when we got married. They're still in our cupboard.
Yep.
And we got some t-shirts, and we got a mug that said "Mornings are scary." When we first got married at the Six Flags, "Mornings are scary" with Scooby-Doo.
Yep.
I have been to Disney World before. I would love to go back and meet you guys. There's this Marcus. That would be hard for me to go because I'm in Australia, says Sons of Gaming. Robin was busy, says Jojo.
Yeah. Robin was busy.
Batman and Robin at Six Flags, they were players, says Sammy.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like, back then, everybody was obsessed with, like, Britney Spears and Christina Applegate, so a lot of girls dressed like, you know, those type of people.
Yeah.
So he was hanging out, and the thing is, the Robin actor obviously either was right out of high school or he might have been in high school, because he was, you know, kind of hanging out with those girls. But Amber and I weren't really paying attention to Robin and the other people because they had awesome merch from, like, the Justice League cartoon, and they had, like, exclusive DC Comics stuff. Like, that store was really fun.
Yeah, there was exclusive DC stuff you couldn't get anywhere else except for that Six Flags area.
Mm-hmm. Because the Warner Brothers stores, they didn't exist anymore, so it was like, that was a kind of cool place for us.
They've teased Penguin, Two-Face, Catwoman, Ra's al Ghul, and a couple others to come into other... in the other two Batman Arkham games, says John Doe.
Yep.
I ran into Harrison Ford at Disney World on Christmas Eve. Interesting. That's really cool. Ryan. Yep, and Luke Batman was saying that he thought I was your girlfriend, but then you said my wife, and then he realized, oh, they're married. Yeah, because we used to say, Luke used to introduce me as his wife on every single video, which was very strange that years later people would say, like, that they didn't know we were married when he would say at the beginning of the video, every video.
Yeah, I would say it at the beginning of every video.
Spider-Man, the animated series, was my favorite show growing up, but Batman, the animated series, might be my second favorite. I have to watch it again to be sure, says Savon. Awesome, Savon.
Do you know why I did that, though?
No.
Because I was happily married. And it was like, to me, it was like one of the most important achievements of my life that I found the right woman, and then I could focus on my career, because I didn't know what I was going to do, because I did all kinds of careers prior to getting married. I never really decided on what I was going to do. And then after the car accident, you know, it was kind of like that Clayface moment from the animated series where that lady stayed with Clayface after he had that horrible accident and she was trying to heal him. And he said, you healed more than, you know, my body, you healed my heart. And I went through a lot of, like, recovery problems. The only thing that I had constant, like, after my car accident was my fiance. And Amber was the only person really giving me love and telling me I could recover, and I wasn't. There were times where my own family were going to put me into a hospital because they didn't think I could function. Like, I was passing out all the time. I had, I was a young 20-something-year-old, and I had, brain damage from a car accident. I was in bad shape. Amber was the only one who told me that. Even the doctor said they didn't encourage me. My wife, or my fiance at the time, was the only person that told me that, I will find a type of job I can do. I can, I'll learn to walk better. I'll learn to think better again. And she was my rock, basically. So, when people are talking about their girlfriends and bragging on YouTube, I humble bragged about my wife because I was very thrilled that someone said yes to me and that she loved me so much. That was very exciting. So, I always humble bragged, and I always will. I've been married about almost 18 years now. I still feel like I'm in my 20s, too. I kind of look like it, but, I've been married a long time. So, but anyway, I'm going to grab some sandwich, and then I will see you guys at 8:30 with the next stream. And I think we're probably going to do an 11 o'clock stream, too. So, the thumbnails might change a little bit because Harley Quinn wasn't on this episode, but I need to go eat a little bit more so I have some more energy. And then we're going to do all of this. We're going to do some more stuff. And we're just having a lot of fun. We hope you guys are having fun here as well. You'll be migrated to the next stream. If you guys could get the likes up, that'd be fantastic. And you have a short 20-minute intermission. All right? Love you very much, Sweet Pea.
Thank you.
No problem. All right, guys. Batman will return at 8:30. God bless and happy gaming.
See ya.
Thank you for the super chats because there'll be no revenue on this stream because license stuff. So, but we hope you guys are enjoying the coverage.